everyone. I have become completely besotted with the demo of Metaphor ReFantazio. I simply could not resist starting it up before the game comes out, thanks to being able to transfer the save file.
Here begins the demo prologue of Metaphor ReFantazio.
The first few hours I've played, I've been blown away. I have always liked Atlus games, and as you know, both Shin Megami Tensei and Persona are the big cornerstones in my gaming library and my experience. And this game, from the opening scenes straight away, is everything I had hoped for. And I just can't wait to continue this adventure all the way through. October the 11th can't come soon enough, and as soon as I receive my special edition, I will do an unboxing, of course. Today I want to talk about something a bit different and perhaps a bit unusual, but Atlus are game developers who, in my opinion, always delve that bit deeper than others. Shin Megami Tensei and how they integrated the world mythologies into that game. Persona with its deep roots in Jungian psychology. And now we have Metaphor. The moment the crucial scene popped up and the mention of the name, I felt I knew exactly what they were talking about.
It's hard to explain.
Some kind of fantasy novel, you said. So it's describing a better world. A utopia, perhaps. I'm something of a reader myself, but that's not like any book I've read. You know, when the late king took the throne, he was quite the idealist himself. He made grand claims about unifying the people under his rule. Never managed to do it in the end, of course.
Because I have quite a connection with Utopia, let me explain.
He is born from hope, a desire to make the world better than it is. Then that hope can be made manifest.
Many years ago, as a student when I moved to London, I visited a musty old second-hand bookshop, and there I bought for a few pence Utopia by Sir Thomas More. Utopia was published in the early 1500s, and while it is fictional, it is also a satire and a very pointed socio-political critique of the systems of its time.
I gotta say, I've been curious. Thanks.
But Moore went on in the book to describe an imaginary community, a system that was based on no discrimination, complete equality for everybody, people looking after each other and taking care of each other. He described in the greatest detail how such a society would work. The word utopia itself was coined by Moore. He simply combined Greek words for no and place. So utopia means a place that doesn't exist, no place. But from the book, it quickly entered our language. Moore was very much a Renaissance man, highly educated, an admirer of the classical Greek and Roman culture and literature. How to reconcile that admiration for the classical world with the more modern strictures provided by the Catholic Church. That was, of course, a conflict that ultimately brought about a lot of change in Europe. Moore himself, in his latter days, I guess became an exponent of that conflict, and this is incredibly well portrayed in the movie A Man for All Seasons. And I highly recommend it. It is extremely watchable to this day. About 2 hours into the game, we enter a strange place called Academia and meet a man called More, M-O-R-E.
Nice to meet you. I've been waiting. And now you've acquired a most interesting power.
And that was the point when I thought maybe my interpretation was not all fantasy, because that is one coincidence too far for me. Now, the Academia is very, very loosely a sort of velvet room, for want of a better description. More introduces us to the system of archetypes. And I won't go too much into it because you want to discover all that for yourself.
Quite something, isn't it? A hall of wisdom, purpose-built for the research of certain powers. I call it academia. It is above all a mystic, long-hidden art, now the stuff of legend, what I have come to call archetypes.
But I want to point out the very strong connection here with the greatest Renaissance man of all, Leonardo da Vinci. Now, you've probably all seen the image of what's called the Vitruvian Man. It is da Vinci's study of the human form, and it demonstrates the perfect ratios and proportions found in human anatomy. This drawing is often considered an archetypal representation of the High Renaissance. I simply love how Atlus have taken inspiration from various aspects of the Renaissance, from Thomas More to Leonardo da Vinci, and they fashioned a concept around it about powers and archetypes and a story, a quintessential dilemma of human society. I cannot wait to see how it will all play out. What will our protagonist find? Is there such a thing as a fantasy society that lives in peaceful harmony? What role do fantasy stories play in our lives? I think Atlus make it very clear in the introductory cutscenes and the prologue how they approach this question. I think it's a fascinating move. It's a sort of framing device they have for the whole story. I'm completely captivated by it, from the environments, which are incredibly detailed, the beautiful visuals, the extraordinary character designs, the fantastic music, the exciting and invigorating combat, and the interesting and relatable conversations people have. I can just feel it. This is going to be the JRPG that sweeps me off my feet this year. Thank you very much, as always, for your time. Please keep well. I'm food for dogs. Bye-bye.
Bargain is struck then.
The scholar in search of Utopia. More. Within him dwells the virtue of the seeker. By this story of fantasy, may this faded world be painted anew.